I'm going to tell you now a little bit about my births, my experience of hypnobirthing personally. My little girl was born 4.5 years ago, and to my knowledge she was one of the first hypnobirth babies born in Jessops in Sheffield. I found hypnobirthing very late, and I called up a lovely lady called Beth Roche, who also teaches in Sheffield. I called her up and said, please, could you teach me hypnobirthing? But I'm supposed to be induced in a week and a half. And she said, don't worry about it. Come along and I'll do what I can. So the plan was to have an intensive Saturday, Sunday teaching, and then the following Saturday do the rest of the class. My little girl was born on a Tuesday in between those dates, so I didn't manage to finish the course with my little girl, but I still had a lovely birth. So I did the Saturday and Sunday with Beth, and it was lovely. My husband and I really, really enjoyed it. And on the Monday, I woke up and I thought, sort of still half asleep, and I woke up and thought, oh no, I've got starts of period pain. I just feel a little bit of mild discomfort in my back. And then when I woke up properly, I thought, well, hang on a minute, I clearly am not having period pain. Maybe this is the start of things. Beth did mention that it could feel like the beginnings of a period when you're the beginning of labour. So I was very excited, and because I'd done because I'd done 2/3 of the hypnobirthing course, I wasn't at all frightened of Beth. I was very excited, and the day continued. We carried on doing just our usual daily things, and the surges were getting more regular and quicker. The time between them was shorter, so they got to about 7 minutes apart, and I thought, well, I'll call Jessops, because I was planning a hospital birth. So I called Jessops and said, hi, I think I'm in labour. And they said, no, you're clearly not. You've probably got a urine infection. Do come along and we'll see. So I went in quite disappointed, because there was I thinking I was having a baby, and I was told that no, it was a urine infection. And I was 37 weeks pregnant at this point. So I went in, and then they didn't even examine me. They just took one look at me and thought, well, there's no way you're a labouring woman, because I was very calm, very relaxed, having a laugh and a joke with my husband, very happy. And they said, well, we'll keep you in overnight, because we think it is a urine infection. You can see a doctor in the morning. So I thought, oh, okay then. So my husband had to go home, and I went up to the ward, and it was about 10 o'clock by now. And I thought, well, I'm definitely experiencing something. I'll use this time to practice all my skills that I've just learnt. So I listened to the CD that Beth had given me, and I did lots of breathing, and I got myself thoroughly relaxed, and I had a really lovely evening. And I was sleeping in between the surges, and I woke up at about 4:30, and I thought, gosh, it must be quite late on in the day by now, because I've woken up about 7 or 8 times. But it was only 4:30 in the morning, and I was realising that I was waking up about every 5 minutes, but managing fine and then going back to sleep immediately. But as it was, I needed to go to the toilet, so I got out of bed and walked down to the toilet. And I was very concerned that I didn't want to wake any mums or babies up, because I was obviously in the ward. So I was very, very quiet. My main focus was on being very quiet and not banging into anything or making noisy footsteps. So I wasn't focused on my relaxation or my breathing. And that was the only surge I felt, and it felt sharp and it felt hot at the base of my back, and it made me stop and gasp. Now, as luck would have it, I stopped and gasped next to a midwife that I was walking past, and she said, oh, you might be in the beginning of labour now. To which I said, oh, okay, great. Things do feel quite open. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, down there, they feel quite drafty. She looked quite surprised at this and said, oh, well, we'll take you down to the labour ward and see what's what. So I went down to the labour ward, still fine, having to stop every because I walked down because I didn't think I was in labour. So I stopped every sort of couple of minutes to breathe through a surge and then carried on. And I got to the labour ward, and the midwife, so it was about 5 o'clock when I got to the labour ward, and the midwife introduced herself, a lovely lady called Donna, and she said, my shift finishes at 8, so I won't be with you for the birth of your baby, but I'll certainly stay with you till the changeover. To which I said, oh, okay. And I can remember being a bit disappointed because I felt that she was a very nice woman and I would have liked her to be at my birth. So she asked me if I wanted her to examine me now or if I wanted her to wait till the new midwife came. And I said, well, no, you might as well examine me now and then we can just at least see where we are. And I was expecting her to say, well, you're about 1 centimetre, and then she'd call my husband and then I'd be able to go home and maybe have my baby the day after. As it was, she said, oh my goodness, Rachel, you're amazing. And I said, oh wow, why? And I was 9 centimetres dilated. And obviously, you only get to 10 centimetres and then your baby's born. So at 9 centimetres dilated, I was still giving the impression to all the midwives, very trained, experienced, wonderful midwives, that I wasn't in labour. And that was because of all the fabulous hypnobirthing I used. So Donna ran off, called my husband. He got himself ready and came over to the hospital. And my little girl was born at 5 to 6 in the morning. So from me entering the labour ward to my little girl being born was 55 minutes. And that was without even finishing the hypnobirthing course. So from that moment, I was complete believer in hypnobirthing and told everybody I knew about how wonderful it was. And then I thought, well, hang on a minute, I'm going to have to start teaching this as well because it's so life-changing and such an incredibly powerful thing. So I began teaching hypnobirthing, and then a couple of my couples asked me if I could go to their birth as well and support them through the birth, which isn't necessary, but it can be a great help. So I did that, and I absolutely loved it, and I found that I was a great comfort to my birthing mums who enjoyed me being there, and it helped them relax even more. So then I trained as a doula, and as a doula, some people asked me to do some photographs, so I started doing photographs, and I've always had a passion for photography, so then I became a birth photographer as well. So the whole package that I can offer is a hypnobirthing teacher, hypnobirthing doula, and a birth photographer. But all you really need is the hypnobirthing. Hypnobirthing teaches you everything you need, but having a doula is something very special as well. But you don't need a doula, but it is rather lovely. So that's how I came into hypnobirthing, and I hope you can see how incredibly powerful that birth experience was, and how all the births I've been to, they've all been very similar. Nowadays, obviously, the midwives recognise hypnobirthing mother and can see that she is late in labour and the labour is progressing. But all the labours I've been to have been so calm and so relaxed and so fun and happy, an incredibly positive experience, which is, of course, what you want for your baby's first experience into the world.